Welcome to Newsmax TV. I'm Kathleen Walter. Joining us is Representative Tom Rooney, Republican from Florida, and member of the Armed Services Committee and its subcommittee on terrorism and unconventional threats, as well as the Committee on the Judiciary and its subcommittee on crime, terrorism, and Homeland Security. Welcome back to Newsmax TV, Representative Rooney.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
The Obama administration has taken a lot of heat for its response to this airline attack, and after a lengthy silence, Obama spoke on Monday. Critics have said that he wasn't tough enough. Are you satisfied with his response?
No, I'm not, and I wasn't satisfied with the response after the Fort Hood shootings either. I mean, I thought that there was not the sense of concern, urgency, and just horror at what happened in both situations as most people that I talked to on the street had. And so I think that, one of the things I'm sure the president is trying to do is to continue to distance himself away from the reputation that the Bush administration had as being ultra tough on terrorism. But I don't think that that means that you have to completely devoid yourself of it either. I think that a lot of the things that we expect of our president is to be tough, is to be the person, the point person to make us feel safe. And being tough on terrorism isn't a bad thing. Now, you might disagree with some of the things that Bush did as president, and that's fine. But I don't think that completely separating yourself from being our top cop is the answer either.
All right. The Obama administration wants to close Gitmo. It doesn't want us to refer to terrorists as terrorists. And they want to give terrorists the rights of American citizens. Do you think that the Obama administration and President Obama himself are being soft on terrorism?
Well, certainly, if those three things are the standard, I disagree with all three of those things. I mean, obviously, closing Guantanamo Bay, which I was recently I think is a mistake. We have a state-of-the-art facility there. Our men and women in uniform are doing a great job. We spent a lot of taxpayer money there. I know that isn't the main issue, but for me, the main issue is this idea when I questioned Eric Holder about why we're closing Guantanamo Bay when the perception of what our friends across the oceans think is going on there is not reality. And it takes leadership to bring them there and say, look, everything that's going on here is on the up and up. So whatever perception you have of the way America treats detainees is wrong. And therefore, this should be, after they go through due process, in my opinion, should have been military commissions. After they go through that due process, they are then jailed, imprisoned at Guantanamo. Not using the word terrorism is just ridiculous. And, trying them up in New York City, I just think is a mistake. This is a huge mistake. And there's no reason why we can't use military tribunals that we have from the Revolution to the Civil War to World War II. We're talking about George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, FDR. Why does President Obama think that it should be different for him and it should be different for this country that we can now afford these people, who arguably could be the worst of the worst, a day in our courts? And I just fundamentally disagree with it.
Right now, there are at least 3 congressional inquiries into the airline attack. President Obama has ordered a review of the creation of watch lists and the use of detection equipment in airports. What do you think that these reviews will find, and who do you believe is to blame?
Well, I think that, first and foremost, the people are to blame are the people that didn't search this guy properly in Nigeria or Amsterdam or wherever he went through a checkpoint. Certainly, I don't want to single out our TSA at this point because this guy was searched or not searched in Amsterdam, where, certainly somebody who's paying a one-way ticket in cash with no bags. Apparently his father had called their country with concern. He should have been on some kind of list. I mean, these are all the lessons that we remember from 9/11. I mean, they're just off the top of your head. Warning signs. If somebody's paying cash for a one-way ticket, he's on a list. He's going to get a little bit of extra questioning. So these things, these reviews are fine and dandy, but it's the things that they didn't do are obvious.
Now, initially, Homeland Security Director Janet Napolitano said that the security system worked, and then she recanted and admitted that there was a major failure there. Do you believe that she's up to the job?
I think that we have a lot of work to do in Homeland Security And I think that Napolitano has a lot of work to do to, again, prioritize safety and do it in a way, you know, that we don't jeopardize our freedoms, but at the same time, we're hearing some of the same problems that we had prior to 9/11. At the Fort Hood shooting, we're hearing that the FBI had information that this guy was not a stable actor. They did not communicate that with the Department of Defense and the Department of the Army. Why didn't they do that? This is why we created Homeland Security, so that all these federal agencies would start talking better with each other again. Well, here we are again, 8 years later, and we're finding out there was communication. All these people are killed down at Fort Hood because the Army didn't have this guy on some bigger of a watch list or something more than just the fact that he was a substandard major. He should have never been sent to Fort Hood, Texas, a place of high stress, high deployment and redeployment. And the same thing with some of these other issues that we're starting to hear about, not only the guy on the airline from Amsterdam to Detroit, but the systems are there. The reasons why we don't communicate better with each other are unacceptable in my mind. And that's the whole reason we put in the Department of Homeland Security. If she can't get the job done with the systems that are in place, then obviously, you know, we need to look to somebody better, because we can't mess around with Homeland Security and when safety is at stake. Because the enemy is starting to see windows of opportunity here. You know, they might seem random, but I guarantee you that these things are going to continue to happen until we start getting tougher.
Getting tougher. How do we do it?
Well, certainly you make sure that our friends across the oceans are doing all of the screening that you know, we put into place, or that they put into place after 9/11. You make sure that you send a message to our enemies that we're not going to tolerate anything with regard to you know, threats against this country, or you know, with regard to safety and whether or not something is seen as profiling or not. You know, our safety is job number one. So I think that there's a lot of things we can do, but again, I keep getting back to the one thing. The rules and procedures that we have in place, I think, are adequate. We just can't, I think that I feel again like the administration is trying to distance itself from those rules and procedures because it thinks it reminds people too much of Bush. And the problem is that, you know, we were safe for a long time after 9/11 because of these rules and procedures. You can still be presidential, President Obama, and have some of the same philosophies that President Bush had. You don't have to do all the things, and obviously he's got his own viewpoint as president, and that's fine. But, you know, we don't have to completely separate ourselves from the fact that the world is a very dangerous place, and it's getting more dangerous.
Last June, the House voted down using full body scanners as primary screening devices at airports across the country. What do you think about those? Do you think that they're an effective anti-terrorism tool or a major invasion of privacy?
Well, I voted against using them because at that time I did feel like they were a major invasion of privacy. I don't know if you've seen the pictures of these things, but they're on the internet. They basically can see you without clothes on, and your spouse, and your sisters, and your mother, and your children. And for me, when all of a sudden you hear about this thing coming back up, it's like, oh, well, maybe that was a mistake. Maybe we should have voted yes. But think about it. If these people in Amsterdam with this guy on the flight to Detroit would have used the measures, the primary screening measures that are in place, and the red flags that should have come up for this guy, those type of things would have caught the fact that he had a bomb in his pants. And as far as giving up our, you know, Fourth Amendment rights of privacy when it comes to not letting people see us without clothes on, and they do, I don't think that we need to go that far yet, and I still don't.
Let's talk about the situation in the Middle East. I know you were recently in Afghanistan. We're beginning to hear more about Yemen, and this most recent attack, as well as the attack at Fort Hood, have both have ties to Yemen. Should we be doing more there? And has Yemen cropped up on our radar at all?
It has. I mean, you heard General Petraeus talking about it not too long ago as, you know, Iraq was the last war, Afghanistan's the current war. Yemen could very well foreseeably be the next one, or the next staging ground for at least where terrorists would want to organize, because Yemen's a poor country. You can influence young men there and women very easily to do things that they might not normally do in a country that has a little bit more wealth. So Yemen is a huge concern. A lot of the detainees at Gitmo came from Yemen. Some of the ones that were sent back to Yemen are already back misbehaving, and we know that for a fact. So when we give the Yemenis that are at Gitmo due process now, hopefully it's taken into consideration that Yemen is really becoming the next breeding ground for this war on terror that we continue to have to fight.
All right, Representative Tom Rooney of Florida's 16th District, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And thank you for watching Newsmax TV.